Hello, BookTube. I thought I might do a video today regarding my favourite books of the previous year. So I'm going to pick 10 books that I think everybody should read. I know, it's March. I'm 3 months late. I know, but what you gonna do? Sound like Hulk Hogan here, didn't I? What you gonna do, brother? I noticed this. I've done this. I did this previously. I tried to record this in a short, snappy way, and I realised previously I got to the 37-minute mark on my little camera. I was like, I'm only on number 3. What are you saying, Alex? Shorten things down. Come on, make it snappy. So yeah, I'm going to give you a quick synopsis and what I feel about each of these 10 books. Okie dokie. So number 10. So number 10 is Peacemakers by Margaret Macmillan. So these are the 6 months in Paris just after the First World War, and how the big three, so America, Britain and France, brokered a peace in Europe by creating its own countries, by ignoring China and Russia, and ignoring the Arab nations. World War Two, people usually blame what happened during these 6 months on World War Two, but the author kind of looks deeper into that and like, okay, yeah, is it really this, or is it this and other things? And it is basically, and this is a really, really interesting study on those 6 months and how the people who actually broken in these treaties didn't believe it was going to last either. So this is a really interesting book. Number 9. Okay, this is East West Street by Philip Sands. So this is the history of the terms genocide and crimes against humanity, and the book flips between the past and the present. So just after the Second World War, so you're talking about people trying to decide how we're going to trial these Nazis. What can we label them as? Genocide, crimes against humanity. How are we going to prosecute these people? And it jumps to the future and how the current UN works at the moment, and it basically goes through the history of these terms and all the pushback on these terms, where countries like, oh, we're not going to accept the definitions of these because we're breaking them ourselves. Anyway, not a cheery book, and it's not that big either, to be honest with you, but it's one everybody should read because it is really interesting. Okay, number 8. Again, not such a cheery book again. So this is Judgment at Tokyo by Gary J. Bass. So everybody's heard of the Nuremberg trials, but nobody's really paid any much, well, not that I know of anyway, paid much attention to what's happened in the Far East. How was their trials prosecuted against the Japanese who were committing war crimes as well? And this book studies about all the judges who are trying to prosecute these crimes. They didn't agree with each other. How the American infrastructure was trying to protect the Japanese Emperor Hirohito. I hope I didn't butcher that name. And how they tried to protect him because they believed if they jailed the Japanese emperor, Japan would fall and become communist. This is a really, really, it's a dense book. It's a big one. It's a big book. But if you're interested in World War Two, specifically what's happened in the Far East, this is a must. It's a really, really good read. Okie dokie. Number 7. Yay! It's a fiction book. Yes! So this is Battleground by Jim Butcher. There's a lot of people who actually don't like Battleground by Jim Butcher, and the reason behind that is Harry Dresden is known as a kind of like wizard Batman. So each of the previous books is more like a detective book, whereas this is just it's an epic battle across Chicago. You've got war, you got gods, you've got big huge armies, you got spells, you got magic. I thought this was a really, really good book. And people die. One of the main characters died. No, I had that feeling. But yeah, this is I believe this is book number 17 in the Harry Dresden files. But really, really good. I recommend anybody to start it. You might find the first few a bit ropey, like, oh, I'm not really getting this. But by book 4 and 5 and 6, you're like, okay, I'm digging this now. I'll continue. And the most latest one was really, really good. Okie dokie. Number 6. Again, this is a depressing one. This is my surprise of the previous year. This is a really, really sad. If you like your crying at your books, you get this book. This is non-fiction at its finest. Okay, if you're not usually a non-fiction reader, grab this book. Even if you're not interested in it, you should read it. It's really, really good. So this book is about a heart transplant between 2 children. I know. So a little girl gets on a head-on crash and she's dying, and it's about getting her heart and transplanting it into another little boy he's got heart problems and he's going to die. So it's about the anguish of losing the child and then the hope of the other child surviving. And it's quotes from the family which are devastating, the school. It's a really well done book. Who's it by again? Sorry, I didn't say that, did I? So it's by Rachel Clark. This book is really, really good. You should read it. Even if you're not interested in the topic, it's still really good. Okie dokie. Number 5. So these are The 9 Lives, A True Story of an MI6 Agent by Amin Dean. So this is about a guy who's a Muslim who's part of the Taliban. And he become disenfranchised and was like, this is not me. And it basically goes through his story of training in war camps in Bosnia and Afghanistan, running backwards and forwards in between Britain, and how he dodged all these things while he was trying to feed information to the MI6 and trying to avoid death. It's a really, really interesting book, really good spy book. How much of it you actually believe, because no one can corroborate what he's saying anyway, but I think it's still really, really interesting book of a guy who's in the heart of a terrorist organisation feeding information to the MI6 to prevent any kind of any death, basically. Okie dokie. Number 4. Okay, another yeah, it is a horrible book, but it's a good book. So this is Nuclear War, a Scenario. This is by Annie Jacobson. Or Jacobson, I'm sure I'm saying that correctly. So this is it's basically a story what would happen in the world if North Korea just decided to hit the United States with a warhead. What would be, the outcomes, and how would America react, Europe react, Russia react. And then basically in this book the outcome is everybody's dead within I think it's a couple of hours. So you've got the warhead going up to hit the east coast of the the west coast, the west coast of the United States, and then America responding, but flying missiles from New York over Europe. So Russia's like, oh, hang on, we don't want any warheads flying over us to hit North Korea, so we're going to press the red button and we're going to launch nuclear war as well. So it's basically, yeah, it's scary times, and this could happen, and it will be over in. That's me trying to click me thing. Is how pathetic is that? I didn't even know you could hear that. Sausage fingers, I can't click. Stay on topic. Stay on topic. So yeah, this is a really, really, really good book. It is a page turner, and it's not the most uplifting, because everyone dies at the end. But it's one book you should read because it is really good. Okay, what are we on now? Okay, number 3. This is Neurotribes by Steve Silberman. I hope I'm saying that right. This is a study of autism, all kind of syndromes from the early days when people who had autistic tendencies or any kind of mental issues where they weren't treated right, basically, to modern day and all the laws that have now been introduced to protect these people. This is really interesting, and some of the stories of what happened to some people with Asperger's syndrome and stuff like that. It's horrible what happened to these people, getting drilled in the head and all sorts. It's a horrible thing what happened, but it's really, really well written. You should read this book. It's really, really good. Okay, I'm noticing them on 10 minutes now, so I'm on number 3, and this is 10 minutes, so I've made 27 minutes. Get in! So, number 2, this is one for any Americans who are watching. This is Empire of Pain by Patrick Radden Keefe. Now, Empire of Pain is about the opiate issue in the United States, and more specifically about the Sackler family, who basically bribed their way into riches, basically, and got nearly. I mean, I'm obviously from the UK, but it's really, really prevalent, opiate issues in the United States at the minute, and it's basically a study of people getting addicted to opiates, the backhand deals between the Sackler family and American politicians, about scientists who are lying about the results of the drug tests. So it's an interesting case study of corporate greed and corporate guilt. They are guilty people. If you don't mind me saying, what they did is horrendous. I don't know the figures, but a lot of Americans are currently who've got an opiate addiction at the moment. Okay, and number one. Okay, I'm from Merseyside, but still, this book is fantastic, and it's not depressing. Yay! This is 1, 2, 3, 4, The Beatles. This book it's comical all the way through. So this is the look of when the Beatles, how they became famous, all the way until the band broke up. So it covers the late 50s, 60s, early 70s, and it's about how the band interacted with each other, how they interacted with the music scene, how they built their international audience up. This is really, really interesting. I don't want to say case study again, but I'll use it. But yeah, this is a really, really well written, funny book about the Beatles and how John Lennon. People think he's like some sort of messiah, but he's sometimes a horrible person, John Lennon. But you should read this book. It's a fantastic book. Okay, yeah. So I managed to do that in just under 30 minutes. I'm kind of made up with that, to be honest with you, because nobody wanted to hear me rattle on for 40 odd minutes about these 10 books and then going off on tangents and talking about all sorts of stuff. So yeah, I might actually do the worst 10 books I've read in 2024 as well in a minute. But yeah, well, I hope you enjoyed that video, and I'll see you in the future BookTube. Bye bye.